Hey, IOers. So picture this. You had the perfect resume. You nailed the presentation. You answered every technical question flawlessly. You walked out of that interview just knowing the job was yours. And then you get the email. While your qualifications are impressive, we've decided to move forward with a candidate who is a better culture fit. Culture fit. What in the world? It's the most frustrating, confusing, and subjective feedback you can get. What does it even mean? Is it just corporate code for we didn't really like you? Well, today we're pulling back the HR curtain on the culture fit myth because what you think it means and what is actually being evaluated and discussed are two completely different things. I'm Nicole, and today I'm going to show you how to navigate and process this kind of rejection. So let's jump right in. Here's the biggest lie about culture fit. Employees think it means, are you like us? Do we share the same hobbies? Would we want to grab a drink with you after work? And yes, some bad managers hire that way. But from a strategic HR perspective, they don't care about your happy hour dynamics. When HR and management debrief after an interview and someone brings up culture fit, they're actually using a catch all bucket for something they can't easily put on a scorecard. The evaluation is about social friction. Every time a company hires someone, they're introducing a new variable into a delicate ecosystem. Behind closed doors, the company isn't just looking at your skills. They're imagining you in the high stress meeting with the most difficult person on that team. They're imagining you when a project fails, or when budgets are cut, or when priorities shift overnight. Here's what HR is thinking about. Is this person going to adapt to our chaos, or are they going to complain about it? Is this person going to collaborate, or are they going to alienate the rest of the department? And the biggest one, will HR have to mediate a conflict for this person in 3 months? If HR or management senses that you're going to require a lot of emotional handholding, or that maybe your communication style will clash with leadership, you become a high risk hire. And it may not even be about you. It could mean that HR knows you will not tolerate the chaos or the person on the team that is quote unquote difficult. You might actually be the most talented person in the room. You might actually have been the best fit to do the duties and responsibilities of the job. But if it is perceived that you could have high social friction, you may be rejected for that quote unquote culture fit. Do this. From personal experience, I don't believe the culture fit is necessarily a bad thing. I once received that culture fit rejection, but I was happy about it. So I once interviewed for a job that I knew I could do and I could do it very well. I knew I was a great candidate. However, through the interview process, I sensed that the leadership of the team wasn't at the strong level that I really wanted or expected. I also sensed that the team was more passive and reactive as opposed to direct and innovative. I also could tell that they allowed some people on the team to get away with not doing work while expecting others to overcompensate. So, after all of that, I knew that I really did not want the job. I knew that I wasn't going to be happy there. However, Had I received the job offer, I would have taken it because I was doing contract work at the time. And quite honestly, I wanted some paid time off, amongst other benefits as well. But after the interview, a day or two later, I received that email that they went with someone that was a better fit. But I was relieved. So, in my eyes, the culture fit isn't necessarily a bad thing. I felt like that decision was an equally sufficient decision for me and the company. Now, let me be very clear and candid about the dark side of this phrase. HR knows that culture fit can be a dangerous phrase because when managers are not trained properly, culture fit becomes a shield for bias. It very easily can become an excuse to hire people who look like them, think like them, and act like them. Good HR professionals will push back on this. When a manager says, I just didn't feel like it was a fit, a strong HR partner will say, define the fit. What specific behavior or answer made you hesitate? But as the candidate, you can't rely on the company having a strong HR partner or maybe good leadership that supports HR pushing back. So you have to take control of the narrative yourself. So if you keep getting this culture fit rejection, there's some things that you might be able to do to navigate or maybe prevent this from coming up. So here's some strategies for you to try maybe in your next interview. Number 1, shift from culture fit to culture add. So instead of trying to show that you fit in, that you're a culture fit, try showing that you're a culture add. So don't try to mirror the interviewer. Instead, show them what you bring to the table that they're missing. You might say something like, hey, I noticed your team is growing fast and scaling quickly. In my last role, I was the person who brought structure to that kind of chaos without slowing anyone down. And then you can go into the details. Number 2, highlight how you handle conflict. Social friction is about conflict resolution. So when they ask for behavioral examples, don't just talk about the times where everything went perfectly. Talk about a time when maybe you disagreed with a manager, or maybe when a stakeholder changed their mind at the last minute, and explain how you navigated it with professionalism and grace. Some interviews are based on what's called the STAR method, which very specifically requires you to give examples of how you reacted or acted and what the result was. So if the interview is set up this way, then you should be golden. Number 3, ask the reverse culture questions. So when it's your turn to ask questions, ask things like, how does this team handle it when a project goes completely off rails? Or what behavior is rewarded here and what behavior is discouraged? Or you could even do a simple, what are the team dynamics? And by asking these questions, you're showing that you are emotionally intelligent enough to care about that ecosystem and not just the paycheck. Now, I also want you to remember that you are also interviewing the company and team. So, like I shared in my experience before, sometimes the opportunity is just not for you. It won't make you happy. So, pay attention to those team dynamics and the ecosystem or work environment, whatever you want to call it. Because this job is where you're going to be spending the most time and who you'll be spending it with. It's away from your family and away from your friends. It's your valuable time. So, this work environment needs to be a fit for you too. So, my final thought here is culture fit isn't about who you'd grab a coffee with. It's about who won't break the machine when the pressure is on. When you stop trying to be their new best friend and start positioning yourself as a professional who solves problems without creating new ones, you become the culture fit. Stop trying to fit their mold and start showing them why they need your specific brand of execution. But again, always be aware if they are your culture fit too. This has been another Behind the HR Curtain mini-sode of the Industrially Organized podcast. And here we stop playing the corporate guessing game and start playing by our own rules. I'm Nicole signing out, and I'll catch you on the next one.